Hi, my name is Rich DuBose. I'm Creative Ministries Director for the Pacific Union Conference Church Support Services, and we're here to celebrate creativity and to talk about the arts once again with my co-host Greg Evans.
Hi, Rich.
Hi, and we have two guests with us this evening.
We do.
It's always exciting.
It is, and this is going to be a good show. Jonhathan Davidson is with us. He's from Loma Linda in the School of Medicine, and wears a lot of hats, from what I understand. And we also have Sharan Bennett, who is an artist, a visual artist in the world of painting. And
she's local as well.
She is, yes, from this Loma Linda area. Sharan, we're going to start with you and just ask you, how long have you been painting? Has this been something from childhood, or is it?
Yes, childhood, really. My mother used to bring us home from church, and when she was tired and had to take a nap, we got typing paper and painted sunsets, I think.
So that's a good babysitter there.
Yes,
it sounded like she was a wise mom.
Yeah. She was.
Was that with watercolors or?
Oh yes, of course. Well, I suppose crayons too. Anyway.
Yeah. So you've been painting pretty much your whole life.
Yes, off and on.
Yeah. And I know that in our talking a little earlier, you really use it as something for you personally that God has instilled. It sounds like a sense of peace when you paint. Is that accurate to say?
It almost creates a place.
Right.
Because I don't have to. Well, actually, that's necessary in order to paint or to write. Mm-hmm. You have to have some time alone. That's hard to come by. I raised 4 kids. It's very hard to come by.
Yes.
But yes, it's a very peaceful experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I know that you have a passion and a reason for doing your art, and it has to do with medicine. There's a connection there, and tell our viewers about that. I want to hear more too.
I'm not a physician myself, but I come from a medical family. My grandfather was the first medical director of the sanitarium in England, and my father was a physician. My husband is a surgeon. My daughter is a surgeon. I have a nephew who's in an emergency room, so I'm sort of saturated in medicine. And I didn't get the kind of encouragement maybe I should have when I was a kid, but that's a long time ago, and things have changed. Now that I have time to think more about painting, I realize that it's a very peaceful experience for me. In fact, the other day I was reading in the 23rd Psalm, and I realized that's a promise, really, to people who need a place, either physically or mentally, to be peaceful. But God says, you don't need anything. I'm going to take care of you, so you don't want for anything. You can lie down in green pastures. You can feel safe. And I'll take you beside still waters. I know you need water to drink. And I will restore your soul. And I think for people who love beauty and want to work with their hands, art can be that way. It can be a healing thing, too.
That's a great way to look at that psalm. I see it in a new light now. Yeah, that's very nice.
So you see a connection between spirituality and the arts?
I certainly do. I think we're born with senses that are ready to take in the beauty that God has put all around us. You think about puppies, their eyes don't open for weeks. They go around with their noses. But babies, even tiny babies, can see. They can see their mother's face, smell, taste. God gave us an inborn sense of a search for beauty, and He provided the beauty, of course.
And we were created in His image, and of course He's the creator.
Yes.
So it's inevitable that we're going to create.
I think so, in our own way, our own way.
And that's what thrills Him, I think, is to see what we come up with. The uniqueness of each person, is expressed in their art and their music and the things that they come up with.
These needs, I don't think, ever go away. They may develop, and they keep on in different ways. My big passion, as I've come to this place for healthcare, is to find a way to make a place and make a time for more of the students in this very high-pressure university, the students who need that time and place, to find a place and find a way that they can refresh and nourish themselves while they're students.
Is there any kind of club or organization in this area for medical students or people who are involved in medicine who lean toward the arts, where they can come together and talk and share?
I don't know. There's a new program that Barbara Hernandez started here in the medical school that's aimed at physician health. She created a place in the hospital where there's a small gallery of physician photographs. But my efforts have not been successful so far. We've had a student organization a couple of times, but it hasn't been supported well enough for the students to feel justified in taking the time, I think, really.
Supported from above?
Yes, I think. And I don't really blame them.
When I say above, administration.
Yeah, I don't blame the administration. It's very complicated, but I really think that if we believe that art is healing, isn't it less difficult to prepare and nurture than it is to heal afterwards?
And we need to make room for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even in a high stress graduate, higher education as medical students and dental students and pharmacy students.
I understand from my daughter that Pacific Union College now has a Sabbath afternoon activity where people come and paint. And that sounds wonderful because you could call it the Green Pastures Room. Come here and relax and create something
beautiful. Going back to our 23rd Psalm. That's great. Well, I know that you brought some of your watercolor paintings with you, and I know all of us here and our viewers would very much like to see those.
Thank you. In 2001, through a series of very interesting circumstances, we went to Albania. My husband provided medical care in a clinic run by the Albanian Encouragement Project. And they did some construction, and this is the picture that I did when they were rebuilding something. I don't remember what anymore. All right, does this...
Let me say one thing here. This is what I love about people with an artistic eye, because I am not by any means a visual artist. I see a pile of bricks, and I would just step right over that. You are inspired to paint a beautiful picture of it. Isn't that incredible? I love that.
Well, the angles and colors are so interesting.
Right,
I couldn't resist it.
And your eye saw that, and that's what's nice. We can go to the next one.
I don't think this is working.
There's a forward button there.
Is that
Can I do it for you? I'll be happy to.
Do.
Sure.
Why don't you just go ahead and do that? This is a marketplace in Tirana, the capital of Albania.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful colors.
Yeah. In those days, they were painting all the buildings different colors, I think, to make it look less like a broken down trailer park.
Did you paint that from a picture, or were you out?
I don't think I did it in plein air. I think I took a photograph and then did it. And I think the next one probably is, this is what we saw from our back window. Albania is a very mountainous country, probably a lot like some of the Middle Eastern countries, mostly grazing. They do some farming, but that's our backyard view. And this...
It's a beautiful view.
Oh, this is the jacaranda tree here in Loma Linda.
Those bloom for just a very brief period of time.
Yes,
but they're so gorgeous.
They
are
lovely.
And when they bloom here, it's just, they're everywhere.
Yeah. I guess it's called jacaranda. I first learned of them when I was a scholar in Mexico. So that, jacaranda.
Okay. We'll go to the next one.
Oh, this is the mountain in Arizona where I grew up, and I'm imagining my brother going out to feed the horses.
And that's watercolor, isn't it?
No, they're all watercolor,
Oh, they are?
yes,
Okay.
they are.
Beautiful.
This is part of a calendar that I made for my family using photos that would remind them of our 7 years in Puerto Rico. And to each one I added a psalm. I think that's all the trees of the, anyway, this is one of the flowering trees that are so plentiful in the tropics.
Beautiful.
Oh, this is sort of imaginary. A little Jibaro house would not be built on the beach, but I imagined it there.
So this is fictional.
This is fiction, yes, pure
Nothing wrong with a house on the beach, by the way. Who wouldn't want that?
Oh, this is a street scene in Bennett, Nepal. We were there supervising 3 medical students, one of whom was our daughter, and I was the chief cook and bottle washer.
And what is that a residence?
Up above it is, yes. Up above it is, and down below there are stores, and I think they were selling grain or some kind of provisions in the street below, in the store below.
Okay.
This is a Chinese farmer's tools laid to rest because his day is finished. The bucket in the center is a traditional kind. It's wooden. We were in China for 1 year at the Sharan Hospital. This is just a little schoolhouse down the road here from Loma Linda. It's been put back together, and it's quite a little tourist site now, I believe.
I love the different colors and how they wash together.
Oh, thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Well, thank you for bringing
very
those.
welcome.
You are a very, very good painter. Really appreciate
thank
that.
You. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, we can move over to
Yes, let's
Jonhathan and talk about what he does. Jonhathan, tell us about you're employed at Loma Linda University. I know part of that is in the School of Medicine, but like I said earlier, I think you wear a lot of hats from what I understand. So give our viewers a brief background of what you do.
Yeah, so I work for the School of Medicine Alumni Association, and then they share me with the School of Medicine. And so basically anything video, filmmaking, or photography related for both institutions, that's me. So
okay.
I take, like right now we're doing all the graduation portraits of the medical students. We're also making mini documentaries that will air during the homecoming weekend in a few weeks. And just finishing up a video about Black History Month and what that means for the medical field. So lots of little things like that. It's a lot of variety, which I really appreciate.
If some of our viewers heard what you do and said, wow, I'd love to do that, how would one prepare themselves for a position such as what you have? What kind of education and training? Have you been holding your dad's VCR camera since you were 5? Or, how did that work out?
Well, strangely, I didn't have much interest in creating media for most of my life. But then my wife started working as a professional photographer shooting real estate. And so I learned a little bit from her. And then I was working at La Sierra University at the time doing fundraising. And I noticed that they opened a film school. And I wanted to learn more about creating media, so I decided to start taking classes. And I discovered that I just really enjoyed it's a very nice marriage of technical expertise and art. You have to understand, the cameras and all the settings and post-production, doing the editing.
Right.
And so part of me is attracted to all those technical details,
right.
and part of me also likes the creative process. So it just felt like a natural fit. And after a few years of just doing it on the side, I thought I should be doing this full time because I really enjoy it.
That's great.
So yeah, if anyone wants to do something similar, I'd say just start practicing, but then also start learning. And you can go to regular school for that, but it's actually amazing how much you can just learn on YouTube. There's all kinds of people who will teach you all about filmmaking and photography.
That's right.
So, yeah.
So you work for Loma Linda now. Was that position there before you came, or did they create that position?
So it was kind of there. It was there as a half-time position, and they had some very talented people there, but they would have trouble hanging on to people because it was only half-time. So they decided, why don't the School of Medicine and its Alumni Association work together, create a full-time position? And so that's when I came in, when they made that position.
I'm sure there was a lot of competition for that position. At least I would imagine.
Yes,
what was your calling card, or what was it that you think made them interested in you?
A couple of reasons. Because I had worked in fundraising for a number of years, I think that was attractive because I understood alumni and alumni relations. And then I also think I was doing a master's degree in writing popular fiction at the time, and I had done quite a bit of writing. So I think that was also attractive because as in a small office, you're often called upon to do all kinds of duties that come up. And so to have a trained writer around, I think, was also a draw.
So there's something to think about if you're a student and you're wanting to know how to get into something like that. Have a toolbox that has more than one tool in it.
Right. Yeah, that's very good advice, very much so. I know that you brought a video that I've seen, and when I found out before we started taping that you were the person that did this, because it's a video I've seen that I just absolutely love. Tell us about who it is and how that came about.
And then we'll watch it.
Yes, we will watch it. Thank you. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you for the kind words. We're talking about a video that I helped direct and produce while I was at La Sierra University. My coworker and I, Christine Barker, we had seen music videos from people like the Piano Guys and Peter Hollins, where they would go out in these spectacular locations like Grand Canyon and Petra and in the mountains, and create music videos of this beautiful music in this just incredible landscapes. And so I think this idea first started when we went to a concert, and we have some fabulous music students at La Sierra.
Yeah, you do.
And we were listening to them, and we thought, we should be doing what the Piano Guys are doing. We are into filmmaking. My colleague also had a film degree from Southern Adventist University. So we said, let's go talk to the music department and see if they'd be interested. So we went and talked to the chair at the time. It was Elvin Rodriguez, a fabulous pianist and organ player. And we told him about it. He said, I would love to do that. And you know what? We have an associate professor who's actually won, I think it's 5 Emmy Awards for arranging music for shows like, it's several soap operas, like the big names.
Right.
I don't watch them, so I don't call them, but the biggest names. Anyway, he's an associate professor at La Sierra, and so we talked to him. He said, I would love to arrange the music. So that got us excited about doing this, and so we put together a violinist, a cellist, a pianist, and 4 vocalists. And this gentleman, Gary Kuo, arranged the music specifically for this project. And we ended up going to Mammoth Lakes and filming up near the Minaret Vista, and had to transport a piano up there and take it apart and put it all together on the side of the mountain. And,
that's not hard to do at all. Wow.
So that's kind of the background for how this piece came together.
Yeah.
So why don't we watch it for a little bit, and then we can talk more about it.
Yeah, we can spend a couple minutes or whatever time we have to watch that.
Ransom captive Israel that mourns in lonely exile here until the Son of God appeared. Rejoice. Emmanuel,
1
shall come to thee, O
Wow.
Beautiful.
Well, that should whet our viewers' appetite. They're going to want to go watch that full video. Where could they find that?
So if you go on Google or YouTube and just search for La Sierra University, O Come Emmanuel, it'll pop right up and you can watch the whole thing.
Wow.
Oh, I definitely have some technical questions. I love audio recording and that type of thing. So were they lip syncing?
They were lip syncing on the mountain, which as a technical person, you might appreciate this. We wanted to film it in slightly slow motion. So what we ended up doing is actually speeding up the audio track to where we could film at a higher frame rate, which could then be slowed down later. So it looks like it's in slow motion, but their lips still match the music.
Wow.
So that took, we had to,
that's impressive.
We had to do real math.
You had to do math,
which was,
I would have never been able to do that.
Yeah, you lost everybody now, at least on this panel.
That's amazing. So you had to transport everything up there, put it back together, but the piano was not really being recorded.
No, fortunately. We had recorded it all ahead of time.
In a studio.
Yes.
Of course.
But you had to have some kind of a system so the singers could hear the track.
Sync with it.
Right?
Yes.
To sing with it?
Yes. So
how do you get equipment there and power? And I mean, that sounds really challenging to me.
Yeah, so we brought a generator for power, and then we had a big speaker that we just set up so that the musicians could hear it and play along to that.
So while they're singing, there's literally a generator motor running out.
Yeah, it was, well, for that reason, we had the speaker going kind of loud. And actually, the Forest Service got upset with it because it was echoing through the valley.
Well, I think beautiful music should echo through a valley. I think the animals would love that.
I've heard of others who've done this where it looked like a piano, but it wasn't really a piano. They had taken all the guts out of it, and it was just a prop. But yours was a real piano?
Yes, as my back muscles would tell you. It was a real piano. It was very heavy. And someone was kind enough to let us borrow it because they had actually used it for a photo shoot where they had taken it and put it in the ocean. And so the piano was never going to be
used again.
A concert piano again. So they were fine with us taking it up into the mountains.
It was just a stage prop. Yeah.
That's a well-traveled piano, though.
Fabulous.
What kind of feedback have you gotten on that video?
Well, it was. We found it pretty remarkable because when you create something, you never know how it's going to be received or how wide it will go. We were pretty impressed with this one. It reached about 630,000 people on Facebook and was shared hundreds of times, and many hundreds of people commented on it and said how much it meant to them to see young people singing about God and the true meaning of Christmas. So that meant a lot to us to hear that people were taking it in its intended spirit. And then I think another 120,000 people have watched it on YouTube since then. So we were just very blown away by the response. But
that's wonderful. Yeah,
I saw it, I believe, on social media, probably Facebook. Someone posted it, a friend of mine, and I saw it, and it immediately caught my eye because my youngest daughter was a music student at La Sierra, and I called her up. I said, "Hey, you got to see this thing. It's just terrific." And like I said earlier, when I found out that you're the guy that directed that, it's really a great piece of work. But what else have you done in terms of video or film work that we would want to hear about?
Well, we made another music video with the La Sierra music students. One of the singers, Anthony Leon, who's a fabulous tenor.
I know Anthony.
Yes, I imagine he's probably been here to record at some point. But he, because we were doing all this and we had all the equipment and the people together, we said, let's make a second one. So we ended up recording the song "It Is Well With My Soul." And we actually endeavored to tell the story behind the creation of that song. So we actually used actors to portray, the song about how, I believe his name was Horatio. I can't remember the last name at the moment, but several of his daughters perished in a shipwreck, And when he was sailing back across the ocean, I believe it was to reunite with his wife, that's when he was inspired to write that song. And so we attempted to tell that story through a music video. So if you'd like to see that, just search for La Sierra University, It Is Well, and that should come up on YouTube.
Was that Horatio Spafford?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a powerful song.
I've read a few things about that song and know that backstory as well. And if you read the verses with that backstory, with knowledge of that story, those lyrics make so much sense, and they just move me to tears when you read it in that context. So our viewers would like to do that, I'm sure, too. Yeah.
You mentioned fiction writing. What motivated you to want to do that?
So when I was a teenager, when I was younger, I didn't like reading at all. I found it excruciatingly boring. And one day I found like a young adult Star Wars novel, and I read that, and I found it absolutely fascinating. And so that kicked off a love of reading. Even though you knew it was not real or true or whatever, it just drew you in. It did. And what I've realized, and I've thought about that a lot since, now that I write fiction, I've done a degree in that, is there is a lot of reality in fiction, even if the story never happened. Like, for instance, the book I think about often is Les Miserables. That story about how the priest lied to the police and said that Jean Valjean, that he had given him that silver. That moment just, I don't know, it hits me very hard. That probably never happened, but that idea, that self-sacrifice, is something that a lot of people, have, that they've given that gift to others, and that's an incredible testimony. So I think fiction, in a way, can be more truthful than truth. Well, and that was certainly true of Pilgrim's Progress, the book that, was written. What was the author's name?
John Bunyan.
Was it John Bunyan? Yeah. It was fictional, but it was illustrative of a real journey that we all are making, toward the kingdom. And Ellen White even mentioned it as a book that everybody should read. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. What motivates you right now as far as the arts? So, I'm enjoying writing fiction at the moment. Okay. I have a novel that's just finished, as of a couple months ago, that will start sending out to agents. So that's a career I've looked forward to for a long time, and I also really enjoy teaching. So that motivates me to keep going, because of just how much pleasure I get in the creative process. Okay.
Well, that's really great. We want to thank both of our guests today, Sharan and Jonhathan. Thank you so much. You've enriched all of our lives. To the viewers at home, visit inspire.org if you want to know more about what we do here. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.